Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to Breakfast with Randy. I'm Randy Reed, co-founder of the Washington, D.C. Archangels. And I'm here with my friend Aaliyah Hulse, who's our new associate. Good morning, Aaliyah.
Good morning, Uncle Randy.
Uh, yes, go ahead.
I was just saying happy Tuesday.
Oh, happy Tuesday to you, too. uh, on Friday, you had a very nice event over at the Tower Club here in Virginia. And it was a nice event to network with people. And it was a kickoff event for one of your programs. Can you tell us a little bit about what the program was about?
Okay, sure. So we launched a new club within the Tower Club, and it's called the Disruption and Innovation Club. And our goal at the club is to help people break outside of their comfort zone. And the first event was more of a networking event to where we were showing people how to network in a disruptive way, right? So usually when you go to a networking event, what do you see? People shaking hands, asking each other, what do you do? Giving them their card. And most of the responses are, I am an investor. I am a financial advisor. I am a real estate agent. And that does not tell people anything,
Right.
What does that give is like, okay, so it's a label, or I am a firefighter. But people want to connect on a deeper level because there's firefighters, there's plenty of investors, there's plenty of real estate agents, but how do you choose the right one for yourself, for your business, or for your clients, or personal needs, right? So what we did during an event, we actually made it illegal to ask people, how do you do? And every time people asked, how do you do, they lost the beads that we gave them in the beginning. And not only that, we also gave people little icebreaker questions that were outside of the comfort zone completely. What was the most embarrassing moment of your life? Or is a hot dog a sandwich? And start a conversation. If you were to choose, would you be Santa or elf for Christmas? And why? So we kind of tried to get people outside of that comfort zone. And partially I learned that also from you and Dan, that when you go in to meet new people, you have to make a relationship. You have to establish a relationship. And so I actually thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for joining us. Then we're going to be doing that every month on the third Tuesday of the month at the Tower. Right. But I wanted to ask you, how do you utilize that? How do you, for somebody who's in an investment world, for somebody who wants to invest or is looking for investment, how do you recommend they establish relationships, or where do they look for that network?
Right. Excellent question. I have been in Washington for years, at this point, decades, and I've learned how to network. And it is a skill in itself. How do you network? How do you find people that you want to work with? Do you just walk down the street and hopefully bump into people? And even if you can, how do you connect with them? How do you find out who they are and become friends with them or business associates? This is what networking is about. How do you establish that network of people that will help you in your business, or even just friendship or dating? It could be anything. We all have to get out there and network, no matter what. Okay, call it whatever you want. Circulating, reaching out into society. There's a variety of words that we use for it, depending on what your goals are. But the whole essence is the same: is you got to get out of your house, get out of your office, and get out there and meet people in a meaningful way. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, first of all, it's not for the shy. Now, believe me, I started out as a very shy person, horribly shy. I mean, when I was a child, I was painfully shy. And even as an adolescent, okay, I just hated going to bars or restaurants, whether it be, or even parties, because if I didn't know anyone there, I didn't know what to do. How do you approach somebody and say anything? It's terrifying.
It would be weird, if you were comfortable in a bar as a child.
Well, that is true.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I didn't have that upbringing. although that would have been good. Parents, start early. um, but I cut my teeth. Did a lot of volunteer work for the American Bar Association. At the time, I was an attorney working here in Washington, and I didn't have that many friends. And so I went out with a couple of friends, and the ABA has a lot of events, but every one of them costs money. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of money. So I actually just volunteered. I went to some of these events, got to know the organizers, and said, hey, I'm a member of the ABA. Do you need some help with registration or organizing the events? And of course, every organization needs help. They always need someone to man the door, registration, or circulate or do something, make sure everything's running smoothly. So in exchange of letting me in for free, I got to do all this little bit of work. They gave me a job and a task to do. So there was a reason for me to show up at all these meetings, okay? So if there was nothing else to do, I could always make sure that the cheese tray is lined up okay, or I could clean up a little bit after the meeting, and I could learn something substantive because there were these great lectures or panel discussions. So I'm learning something and I've got something to do. But how do you actually network and approach people, okay? So I eventually found there were a few things that you have to do. You have to put yourself out there in the event. And if it's a reception of some sort, like a wine and cheese reception after the event, which almost always happens, that's why we have them. It's a networking event. Okay. You have to just go out there and start talking to people. The good news is that most everyone else is as painfully shy as you are. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people who just start. They go to these networking events, and they're just like you. They stand in the corner, they've got a little plate of cheese, and they've got their glass of wine, and they're like just eating their cheese and glass of their wine, and don't talk to me, I'm terrified. And
They're trying to hide from everybody.
Yeah, you want to be flower. You just kind of want to blend into the wall and hope you won't do anything that will really embarrass you. Okay, that's pretty much everyone's goal. Now, unfortunately, I find a lot of women to be more like this than men. Okay, women, I don't think, have learned how to be an aggressive out there networker like men have. Okay, but I use that to my advantage. So what I learned was one of the best things you can do is when you go to an event is when you see someone who's trying to be a wallflower, who's trying to not be out there, you just go up to them, walk right up to them and say, hi, I'm Randy Reed. That's all you have to do. Now, that person, male or female, at that point will be so relieved of their embarrassment and of being their isolation, that they'll be very happy to say, oh, hi, how are you? And I'm Susie, Jones, or I'm Harry Frankfurter, whatever. They'll introduce themselves. It's a polite thing to do, and that's why everybody's there. They will not spit at you. They will not turn their back away from you. You don't have to worry about rejection. Okay, it's not like being at a bar. Everyone's going to be nice to you. That's the point. So we have to get out of that fear of that you're going to be rejected, that you're not good enough, or that you're not interesting enough. Where, in Washington, we can be very judgmental about who you are. If you're not in a certain position, I don't want to talk to you. Okay, well, then let's not talk about that. And you're absolutely right. Don't talk about who you are or what you do. That's always the worst question to start off with, because everybody starts off with that, and at so many parties and networking events. And immediately once we find out what you do, I'm an attorney or I work for the government, we start making judgment levels as, are you above me or are you below me? And if you're below me, I don't want to talk to you anymore. If you're above me, oh, I really want to talk to you. And that's a bad situation right from the start there. Okay. And if you're an equal, it's like, well, okay, I'll talk to you, but it's kind of a waste of my time. So let's get away from that. So you introduce yourself, you find someone who would enjoy being broken out of their isolation at the event. All right, you just broke the ice. Hi, I'm Randy Reed. Now what? Now what do you talk about? Okay, now this is the real killer. It's one thing to say, hi, I'm Randy Reed. You tend to want to say, and I'm a co-founder of the Washington D.C. Arts Angels, or whatever I do, or I'm an attorney with U.S. Department of Labor, or I'm a consultant with Booz Allen or something like that. Okay, let's get away from that. What are the things you have in common with that person at the reception? Aaliyah, I asked that question to you. Let's list a few of the things that total stranger. You've never met this person before, but you attended a lecture and you're at this event. Let's say it's in a downtown venue, okay? And you're now enjoying some wine and cheese off your little platter. Give me a list of at least 5 things you have in common with that person that you can immediately start talking
about. Wine.
Good.
Cheese.
What else?
The event that we just attended together.
The topic, right? Okay.
The topic. The people. So we are there.
Maybe the organization that brought you together. Maybe
right.
You're both members.
Even though we're not necessarily talking because we're shy, we're there to make people or to meet people. And most probably we're both business owners or are in some kind of business growth
profession.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Excellent. 5 things right there. Let me come up with a few more. We're at a venue. Maybe this is a hotel or private club. That's another thing we have in common. We both had to get there. Transportation. Okay. Did you come by car, bus, metro, walk? When you came here, what was the weather like? You both experienced the weather, right? Let's see. Time of day. Is this more early morning, lunchtime, late afternoon, after work? Okay. You're both sharing a time of day. The event was sponsored by the American Bar Association. Are you a member or something like this? Okay. Those are at least 10 things you have in common with that person. You can start off talking about any one of those things. So, Aaliyah, ask me a question based on one of those 10 things. You just introduced yourself. Hi, I'm Aaliyah Hulse. And I said, oh, hi, I'm Randy Reed. Okay, now, what's your next gambit?
Hi, Randy. Nice to meet you. Is this not the worst wine you've ever had?
Good question. Oh, I know. This is terrible. They should have a better selection here at the bar. I paid $60 to attend this event, and and this wine is really just undrinkable.
I'm glad at least somebody agrees with me. I'm going to put it down.
Good. Okay. Come up with another one. Hi, I'm Randy Reed. Let me try. Hi, I'm Randy Reed. So I drove in today, and wasn't that rainstorm really horrible? Did you experience that rainstorm?
No, I stayed at the hotel. It's raining outside?
Oh, how lucky for you. You just walked down from the room down to this event.
Yeah, I slept all night. I slept all day. I was, it's a long travel.
So did you fly in for this event?
Yes, I did. I flew from Australia.
From Australia. Is that where you live? Are you from Australia?
No, I just go there to party. I fly there for 3 days, party, and then I come back.
Wow, you must know a lot of really interesting people on Australia. That must be a great party. Tell me about that party.
Well, it's it's an invitation only. But you're a sweet person. You seem to be a little different from everybody else. So maybe if we are in the same industry, then maybe you can come attend our party. Those are all business parties.
I once had a friend who was from Australia, and she said she has a beautiful Australian accent, which sounds kind of like, not to our ears, it sounds almost like an English accent.
Yes.
And she said that sometimes people compliment her on how well she speaks English.
I've heard that before. I've heard that people compliment Australians.
Australians speak some sort of foreign language.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've heard
Okay,
that.
do you see what we did here, Leah? Yes. Do you see what we did here? We connected. Okay.
Absolutely.
No. One of the questions, I once had a friend, a college roommate, who was so good at this. He can meet anybody and talk with them. And I finally asked him, how do you do this? And he says, when you meet somebody, just keep asking questions of them until you find something that you can connect with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we started off with something that we could connect with. Okay. But, that's just kind of almost superficial. It's about this event. Then you said Australia. And then I remembered this funny story from a friend of mine.
Right.
And we had a nice little laugh over it. And now we're friends.
Yes.
Okay. Now we've got something to really talk about. Now, if I had been to Australia, we could talk about Australia. And we could talk about that for the rest of the evening. Okay.
Right.
So you've got any event you're at, you've got at least 10 things in common with that person. How you got there, the event, the people that organize the event, the organization of the event, the food, the wine, the topic discussion. Oh, Leah, did you hear that topic? It was about anti-dumping laws. Is that what I don't know that much about anti-dumping laws. Do you know much about anti-dumping laws? Or is that your field? You could talk about, I disagree with that panel discussion, that one guy who said this. Do you agree with me? Or I think that was rude of him to respond that way. Or that question that came up during the Q&A. What a stupid question. And then you find out it was you who said it. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Well, okay.
But that gets people to laugh, though.
Yes.
Even if it is, as long as, and that's one of the things that I connect with people on is I always keep it light and I always keep it humorous.
Yes.
And in the beginning, if people don't know me, they kind of like are a little bit wary, but I always find something to laugh at, and I usually laugh at myself. Like, oh, did you hear that? Like, yeah. Did you hear what I did?
Right.
It gives people permission to laugh at me with
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, when I was there on Friday, I met some people, and one of the first questions I asked was, "Oh, so do you know Aaliyah, the woman who organized this?" "Oh, yes, I do." Because almost everyone there knew you. Okay, so how do you know Aaliyah? "Oh, well, we met at some event." See, it starts a whole conversation. So these are conversation starters, and everyone will play along with you. No one's going to be rude to you. I guarantee it, because they're
Absolutely.
there for the exact same reason, to network, to find people. Now, maybe you won't become best friends. Maybe there won't be much of a connection, but you can have a pleasant conversation. Okay?
Absolutely.
That's all you can expect to have. It's just a pleasant conversation.
That's one of the things that I noticed, Randy, is that a lot of the times of those networking events, they become that place where people try to get business. But it's not about trying to get business. Nobody's getting business at a networking event. It's there for you to make friends, for you to establish relationships, for you to establish connections.
Exactly.
Something will come out. But it definitely is one of those things where sometimes I wonder, especially with people that are new to networking events, I try to educate them a little bit. This is a place for you to make friends.
Right.
Business out of me or out of anybody else in here.
Absolutely. And it's always the mark of an amateur networker, someone who starts pushing the business on you. Okay. Yep. So Leah, what do you do? Really? Well, I'm a consultant, and you know what? I've got this whole program of things that could really help you. And it only costs you, well, let's talk about how much it's going to cost you. But I can offer
I'll be
all
back.
these things.
You stay here.
I graduated from Harvard.
Hold on. You stay here. I'll be back. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't have to push it, okay? You know, all you're trying to do, like I say, your only goal in these networking events is to have it leave a positive impression on that person. That's all you can do. It's all you can possibly achieve. Because hopefully you'll run into that person again at another event. All right. That would be great if you can, right? And you might run into that person next week or a month from now or 6 months from now. Okay. Now, if you run into that person at some future date, remember what you talked about that networking event?
So usually what I do is, if I established a great connection, I will exchange business cards, and when on my way,
right.
on the back of the card, I'll write down some key points that we talked about, if they have children, if they've traveled, something. But I usually do remember those things, but I try to put that on. And maybe next Tuesday, we can talk more into that follow-up. Yes, that new connection.
Sure.
We've met that person. We took the card back. Now what? Right?
Okay. Let's say that for next time. But I need to impress that all you can do is leave a positive impression, because most people don't remember what they talked about, but they will remember whether they liked you or not. That's what they will walk away from. Did I like talking to this person, or did I not like talking to this person?
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. That's what they are left with. So your goal is to leave a positive impression on that person. And if that's all you accomplish, you have accomplished a lot. And that was a successful networking event.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Uncle Randy.
Thank you
for joining in, and we'll see you next Tuesday for the follow-up.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Send us your questions.